Sounds of Taiwan. I'm Eric Gao, bringing you the news from here in Taipei. Taiwan's Vice President Bi Khim-hsiao says she will not be intimidated by China after Chinese diplomats and Secret Service reportedly followed her during her visit to Prague last year. She made the comments on X after Czech intelligence units reported that the then VP-elect was being tailed by Chinese officials. The report says they were collecting intelligence on her movements and nearly caused a car crash. They were also reportedly planning to confront Hsiao. Taiwan's presidential office has condemned China's actions and is calling on Beijing to issue an apology and an explanation. The government has signed off on a pay raise for Taiwan's troops, and it's set to take effect next year. But there's still some controversy over how the budget was approved. Jaime Okan reports.
Taiwan's military is roughly 150,000 strong, made up of a volunteer force. All young men are required to serve for a year, but only a relatively small number stay in the military, usually looking for other opportunities and better compensation elsewhere. But that could change. Taiwan's presidential office has approved plans to increase pay for all volunteer soldiers by about $1,000 a month, a move that some people in Taiwan say is a good step towards the future. But the way Taiwan is increasing troops' pay has raised concern from the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, and the cabinet. The legislature is controlled by the opposition Kuomintang and Taiwan People's Party. They passed the amendment to raise soldiers' pay, increasing the overall budget by about $1 billion annually. Under law, the legislature is supposed to discuss major budget proposals with the cabinet, but it did not.
我们乐见帮国军加薪，但是用违宪的方式通过的法律要如何执行啊？这个行政院可能要思考一下该怎么做。
The KMT says that the DPP isn't doing enough to help the country's armed forces.
当初所有民进党的立法委员就是对不起军人，沈伯洋他们一直大声讲说要抗中保台，但是却对我们的军人的薪资、军人的尊严不闻不问。
The increase in pay is set to take effect starting on January 1st, but there are still questions about the legality of the law and how to enforce it. When discussing raising the overall defense budget, the Defense Ministry has said it welcomes more resources as long as they are in line with procedure. But whether this increase follows procedure could take a while to figure out. Justin Wu and Jaime Okan for Taiwan Plus.
Taiwan's biggest music awards were handed out at the Taipei Arena on Saturday night. Cadence Carranza takes a look at the big winners.
This is the Golden Melody Awards, the most prestigious music awards in the Mandarin-speaking world. Competing for prizes in over 20 categories, artists from Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, and South Korea. One of the night's biggest winners, singer-songwriter Siri Lee, who won the coveted Album of the Year award with an album written in Taiwanese Daiyi. Lee also won Best Taiwanese Album and Best Female Taiwanese Singer. Best Mandarin Male Singer went to Taiwanese hip-hop star Trout Fresh.
我妈以前小时候会酸我说：“你以后长大要当周杰伦哦。”妈，这是我最接近周杰伦的样子。
Trout Fresh also won Best Mandarin Album for Good Sound with Attitudes, an album he said was inspired by a friend who suddenly died. Best Mandarin Female Singer went to Taiwanese singer and DJ Hua Wei, whose 2024 album Ordeal by Pearls features songs in a variety of music styles.
其实这一次专辑就是用了很多不一样的唱腔，然后想要挑战不一样的情绪，就像我刚刚说，很像在健身，你一定要痛过，你一定要去练了，你才会知道那个感觉。
Following the awards, Taiwan's premier congratulated the winners on social media, writing in a statement, "May all musicians stand up in the free land of Taiwan and continue to shine on the world stage." The night celebrating performance, songwriting, and composing, honoring prominent achievements in those categories from across the region. Joseph Wu and Cadence Carranza for Taiwan Plus.
And as Taiwan celebrates its musicians, let's take a look at one composer who is using her works to raise awareness. On our interview show Zoom In, Zoom Out, Jeremy Olivier spoke with Xing Hui-Cun about her piece, 3 Pinches of Salt, and what message she's trying to send.
What is the story that you're trying to tell with 3 Pinches of Salt?
My previous 2 works, it's about identity, and then another one's about preservation of the environment and language and culture. And it's somehow really heavy, and I feel like I want something fun about food, right? And so this is about preservation of food. This I developed with the director and the creative team in Taiwan. We gradually, it's about human contact connections. In this story, there's a son and mother, and son tried to make the kimchi, the pickles, reproducing the mother's, the way she made it. So there's death and life, and then how we pickle food because we wanted to preserve it, and then we bring something decay to life and nutrient our body. As I beginning to work on this theme, I was very surprised. I don't know why was I surprised that kimchi is universal, and wine is universal, and this is back to the idea about the of identity, that we are all the same. You know, we should not thinking about it's your culture, your food, your pickle, or my pickle, and we human beings in different culture has an ancient way of preserving food, and we could work together. So back to my very heavy topic, and before that, about identity, is my opera is about bringing people together rather than dividing people.
Wonderful. You know, of course, as you've been saying, there's this strong food element in this piece. And I think in one iteration there was a food tasting, which is not something you'd normally see in a classical music concert. So what was your motivation for incorporating
Well,
that?
actually we do, right? There's always reception. There's always reception after concert, right? But it's like separate, you know, there's concert, there's a reception, they're 2 separate things. What would happen if we bring them together, right? And then, of course, we want to bring the preservative food, the kimchi, this pickle thing, and then make people aware the wine you're tasting and the pickle you're eating or is in the food, it's universal, it's ancient and old, and it's all cultural, right? And as I discovered these interesting facts in our different culture and life, I hope that the audience can discover that as well.
So like many of your other works, I mean, this is essentially music theater. It has a very strong visual element. So why is it important for your audiences to see the messages and the stories in your pieces like this one, rather than just hear them?
Wow, we just went through a pandemic, right? We're not going back. I was in Zoom for 2.5 years, and I'm so used to this visual elements too. And I feel I still write abstract music. I just finished one, premiered in Chicago. But their storytelling has a lot to offer to connect to the audience. My music, I was told that it's avant-garde and new music, and it's hard to listen. But then if you have storytelling and to convey what you try to say, I think you can bring the audience into your life and vice versa. And so I think storytelling is a really good way of connecting with the audience.
And a question I want to ask right after that is, you know, as somebody who I was trained in classical music, I'm curious how you come up with your pieces. Do you hear the music first? Do you visualize it? How does it come to you?
If it's a piece of abstract music, I hear it, and that's first. I know the whole piece before I even put it down, because structure is so important. But with the storytelling pieces, you need to think about the concept first, right? I mean, what are you trying to tell? For example, this idea of a food preservation, it's not just eating food. Underneath is you want to tell people, hey, we are the same. You know, German or Japanese or Taiwanese, we all have a similar kind of culture in preserving food. So let's work together. Our world is going crazy, divided and, you know, fighting and this and that. And as a musician, what can I do? I go demonstration, of course, but I think my forte is to use my music as a vehicle to tell the audience, tell the people, hey, have you thought about this? What do you think about this? And they might agree, they might disagree, but that's okay. I see that's a form of expression for myself. It's important to let people be aware of a musician can be also active and be part of the society.
That was composer Su Hui Chen. You can find the full conversation on the Taiwan Plus website. Search Zoom In, Zoom Out. Custom modified motorbikes have long had a fan base among a certain subset of Taiwanese bikers, but it's only recently that the wider public is coming to appreciate them both as vehicles and as works of art. John Van Trieste takes a look into a subculture that's emerging from the underground.
When Gao Xiangyan was a student, he never imagined he'd be a respected craftsman working on custom motorbikes. This was someone who'd studied telecommunications engineering, not the sort of person used to working with their hands. But a failed quest to trick out his first motorbike set him on a path that would become his life's work. Gao's career as a remodeler of motorbikes didn't start out smoothly. He says he had no credentials or reputation, and so getting customers was tough at first. But he ignored the temptation to give up and now has a place as a professional in a niche but growing biker subculture. He's far from alone in the field, though, as new talents are building a name and carving out a place for themselves all the time. Huang Minglong is 24 and was a rising star from his first attempt at turning a bike into a unique creation.
我就在朋友的工厂里面打造了一台属于自己的手工车，然后那时候刚好在这个手工车界里面有一场比赛，对，所以说我就抱持着试试看的心情，就去报名了那场比赛。结果就成功让我拿到了第2名。就在我成立工作室的这1年，我又再次去参加了这个比赛，结果就很荣幸的又拿到第1名。
His dream now is to enter a competition in the U.S. and win, putting Taiwan's custom bike scene on the map. Motorbike redesigners like these are resourceful people. They often have to search out long discontinued parts from obscure overseas sources. They need a wide range of contacts, even furniture upholsterers to provide the right foam so the seats are perfect. They do their own part making and DIY assembly as well. And of course, they have to test out their creations themselves too, checking to make sure everything is up to the highest standards. Maybe the hardest thing they have to do, though, is push back against misunderstanding about what they do. Taiwan has over 14 million scooters and motorbikes, but these are mostly standard models. And even though people have been customizing bikes in Taiwan for at least 20 years, there's still a sense that these bikes are dangerous, or worse.
台湾的改装法规其实是非常的完善的，但重点在于认知问题。今天不管是民众的认知、警察的认知、检验人员的认知，他们都完全不一样。他们就会认定为只要改装就是违法。
But they say this isn't what the law actually says. As the custom bike subculture grows, there are hopes in the community for even more explicit leeway from the government.
未来，那我都更较好，我当然会当参像日本、像美国安尼，算讲咱这个物件是政府甲咱讲，你改奥多拜是会使，你是爱改安全，你爱改到较好。那安尼，咱一般的店家吼，若讲要来做，还是讲要来带少年的继续做，其实是较有利处的店。
These DIY bike modders say what they do is a form of art, and they hope for greater freedom to express themselves and keep a thriving scene expanding. Luffy Li and John Van Trieste for Taiwan Plus.
And thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Grab our app on your mobile device to get more of our news reports and programs on the go. Finally, we leave you with images of the Summer Swag Festival in South Korea, held by Gangnam Style singer Psy. I'm Eric Gao. Take care. We'll see you next time.